is the start of something new. Well, newish. But I'm going to do some hobby for a change. And I figured I might as well prove to the world that I can actually do hobby. To the doubters, I say, ha. And now I'm going to change the camera so it moves onto the painting table and my hobby table. And tonight I'm just going to be assembling a few bits and pieces. So it's more or less just a muck around session. But hopefully there's something to be gained from this. I'm probably going to be rabbiting it on. And you're more than welcome to join. Welcome and thank you. One hobby table. Wait, as I slowly destroy my hobby table. Well, not slowly at all. Nope. I might even change that around a little bit. Camera moving. This is a very professional setup, as you can tell. On my table at the moment, there's a lot of stuff. You can see some examples of it just here. I've got some Morats from Infinity, which I'm slowly working on as part of my commitment to, I guess, a hobby, such as it is. I've got a Lizardman, and again, I'm bemoaning the death of the old world, so who knows what's going to happen with Ninth Ed, but that's a project that's a thing. And I've got approximately 1 miniature painted for the army. I came up with a list at 2,500 points for a tournament last year, and then didn't play, which is good because I only got 1 miniature out of 102 painted. So my hobby deficit in that case was huge. At the moment I've been focusing on the Morats, and I've got a few finished, which I need to get some decent pictures of and put up. But I'm sort of disappointed by these guys, actually. I lost inspiration for the weapons on the Morats, and so I sort of dropped the ball on that, and that sort of halted a little. So now I'm checking out the new Morat Vanguard inventory, which are camera not very helpful to see. But that's the body compared to the previous Yogats, for example. And these things look monstrous in pictures, but they're not significantly larger than the existing range. So the guy there will be about the size of the existing range. They're a little bit more bulky, which is kind of cool, because it chubs them up a bit. And yes, that's the official term for it. They're chubbed up. So I'll also continue to work on this. I've been using waxing lyrical about whatever it is that I'm currently doing in the hobby. Questions, answers, and so forth. I'm hoping it's not anything too controversial, but it'll draw ratings. It's all about controversy. That's kind of the reason why my last blog died. Sort of. But it was the fact that it was time to rebrand myself and come up with a new blog, a new identity, which is what we see today in the form of Sprue Grey. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the first injury of the video cast. I've managed to put my scalpel into my finger, and I'm about 2 minutes into the video cast, so that's probably a good sign. And a timely reminder to those of us who are slightly more accident prone, well, possibly have been drinking, that sharp, cutty things to be offered the respect and care due to them. Don't drink in hobby, people. It never comes out well. You've got the big money, the big hobby hustlers, they drink. Well, no, they don't. But I'm trying to think. Dwellers below, no, they're remarkably calm individuals comparatively. And for, Warhammer players, they're very nice guys as well. Go with the LRDG. Whoa. Do you listen to LRDG? I'm not a bolt action player. Never really been a big fan of the historicals and stuff. I've been playing with toy soldiers for a long time. In fact, ouch. More than I care to remember. And all that time, the historical stuff has never really grabbed me. Don't know why. But, yeah. Me, into the tough stuff. Superman. And tea. So, bottoms up. On the plus side, drinking tea whilst making a video is slightly better video than it is radio. Strangely enough, knocking the top off one and sucking down a cold brew, not good radio. Mostly it's a spectator sport, I guess. But, okay. So that's my right, his head. I can try and modify the light order. So it's a little bit more even. That might help the light and the appearance just a little bit. My trusty Loctite super glue. When only Loctite will do. Stupid tabs on the bottom of these things. Not entirely sure why. For some reason, there are little casting tabs or mold tabs at the bottom, which are, let's face it, friggin' annoying. And for those of us paying attention, I have noticed I haven't Loctited this bastard into his base yet. So the main reason being, he's fairly tight in there anyway. Once you get him in, and I've already cut my finger, so I'm bleeding. And I was hoping a few of the Hoarder crew would show up tonight. Oops. And they may well do, but it won't be anytime soon. My time runs somewhat short. Oh. I feel like this will do. More at looking wistfully over his shoulder. Hello, and the combined army. We'll smell at you. We promise it will be painless for the most part. And this is where Infinity gets somewhat interesting. And for those of us who are keeping score, you know that the Infinity rules are freely downloadable as PDF and can be translated to iPad or iDevice or Android device quite easily. Having done that with Second Ed, I've come to the stark conclusion that in all honesty, it's better to have a rulebook. The rules, the rules are all there. There's no two ways about it. There's definitely rules there. But what we find, what I've found particularly, is that we start with fluff. And they're going to tell you the background information, the fluff, and that's what drives your game, really. So, losing out on that fluff, yeah, okay, you're not paying for a rulebook, But you're also not getting the. I just think you don't get the full value for the game. Mostly because you don't get the fluff, you don't get the background, you don't get the feel for the game as well as what you would if you bought the book itself. So subsequently this weekend, I'm hoping that I'm able to get out to KJ's Games out in Footscray. I'll actually pick up a rule book or two. Apparently I've got disposable income again. Discretionary funds. So with discretion, some of my funds. Well over super good, this. Oh crap. But I might leave him alone and just let this super drawn a bit. So now I've not only just managed to cut myself, but for those keeping score as well, I've also managed to glue my fingers together. So really, it's been a fairly standard evening putting toy soldiers together. Getting another one out here. And this is my heavy weapons dude. The guys that I'm assembling are from the Morat Aggression Force. And the big guy is the Sograt Tempest Regiment with a Feuerbach, a flamethrower. That's not a bad one, actually. The dude, or the chick there, is, I guess, like a special character or an add-on, and it's a nice note. It's a Morat hunting regiment. One that I assembled earlier, which I managed to successfully put together. And it's actually a pretty sexy model. Although having said that, the other box set that's available for the Combined Army and the Morats at the moment is that one with the stinking Umbra, which Legate or whatever it is in there. And that's a really nice looking model. I believe he was described as like a badass Sith by the Big Hobby Hustlers on their podcast, and I'm inclined to agree quite heavily with them. So, yes, I'm keeping my fingers away from the blade this time, because I may not be real smart, but I can lift heavy things that are heavy. However, having said that as well, I only need to cut myself once or twice before I learn the lesson. The one thing I do like about these miniatures, I don't know whether it's specific to Infinity or whether it's just newer casts or what, they tend to be really clean. There's very little in the way of mold, lines, and flash that has to be cleaned up, which is kind of cool too, because it means that there's less prep that has to be done. Well, in fact, better than that, there's it's just a little bit nicer to have it so clean. So, yeah, big fan. Just checking the internet to see what's going on. Verifying that things are working the way they're supposed to be working. It seems that they are, which is kind of good too. But can't talk baiting. Who is that? Not in. Is it? Is it? Okay. Okay, that's exciting. Oh crap, I'm streaming live. Oh, check the internet now. It's streaming. live. And that's not quite what I expected. Because really, I was just mucking around to see if this works. But now I have an internet presence. I guess there are standards to be maintained and expectations that need to be met to my adoring public. Hi, Mom. My kitty mum's not the internet. I don't think she can spell internet. Don't tell her I say that she'll kill me. Dude, mobs are scary. I've got one. Oh my stupid slaughter bases. Man. Okay, I know Infinity is like an in thing and it's totally big and all, but alright, look, guys, cut out the slots on the slaughter bases. It's killing me. These ones are friggin' brutal. Of course, one of the questions you may ask is, Adam, how do you get a better blade? And that too would be a valid question. However, effort versus reward, and the eventual payoff is to successfully cut out the slot. Now this guy, unlike the previous Morat, who's currently swimming in super glue, so God knows how that's going to work out when it comes to paint, doesn't fit nicely into a slot. Here's a little known medical fact. Super glue was first used and deployed during the First or the Second World War, and it was given to troops to seal wounds. And it works really well at it too, but you kind of then got a wound that's sealed with super glue. So read into that what you will. Dettol and a wire brush, man. I wish is to get the Dettol and a wire brush before the other dirty buggers we're going to get it. Tra-la-la. So what else is going on in the world of toy soldiers, do we ask? You know what? I'm going to go on record as saying that Kickstarter thing. I put this up before, so it's nothing new. But there's a quote that's attributed largely to P.T. Barnum. It goes along the lines of, "Fool and his money is soon parted." And I gotta tell you, that Kickstarter is a big embodiment of that quote. Obviously, that's a big call because I've some quite successful stuff on Kickstarter. Particularly, I think of a webcomic that I follow, Order the Stick, who did some amazing things through Kickstarter and have the honor, I guess, of being one of the first successful Kickstarters for a comic, raising some ridiculous amount of millions of dollars in a very short period of time in order to publish the back catalogue and continue producing the comic, which is, I mean, it's amazing, it's awesome. But then look at those guys who are still waiting for their Robotech Kickstarters. Or God help you if you ordered Sedition Wars. Man, what a loser that one was. Total hose that was. And they saw me coming a mile off. It was Mike McVeigh, so the quality, I guess, and his reputation is what drew me to it. But the more poorly organized organization in Kickstarter, I've never seen. And in fact, I documented it on my blog, spillgray.com, where Sedition Wars pretty well cured me of Kickstarter. because it was just such a bad experience. Like poor communication. The end product was, look, let's go for mediocre. Some of the toy soldiers were the quality of sorts of things you expect to get in a kid's box set from a toy store. Like the old green toy soldiers or green and tan toy soldiers. And it honestly kind of broke my heart because I so wanted it to be awesome. But the other thing that ticked me off, particularly to do with the communication, is the fact I had no idea what I got. And to this day, still don't know whether I got on my pledge. So I'll just assume that I did. But there's some stuff that was supposed to be coming that I'm damn sure didn't come. So it's around on a shelf, unopened. And 6 months later, somebody else was the beneficiary of whatever it was the hell they sent me. Because I was dark on the whole thing. Which is interesting. I mean, again, it's one of those things that you kind of want to succeed. It's always good to see new stuff come up. But see, herein lies the other challenge with things like Kickstarter. Or certainly some of the smaller, I'm going to use the term independent games and games designers, is that it's great for me to back this game. I mean, it's awesome, it's cool, it does everything. But I've got nobody to play it with. Because I backed this game and I bought the bits and I bought the game and I bought the models, but none of my crew play it. Oops. Yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. Okay. Worst weapon ever. This thing, hopefully it comes into focus, has such big chunks of flesh on it. Man. It's a honking great gun, don't get me wrong, but wow. I'm going to need to improve my lighting a little bit so I can see. Yeah, that's going to require a little bit of work. However, back to the knife. I've probably got another 10 minutes anyway before she who must be obeyed must be obeyed. And while some of you may say, "Oh, your missus," it's not, of course. No missus understands about toy soldiers. It's my 20-month-old daughter who doesn't understand about toy soldiers. Let's face it, she's 20 months old. All she understands is dirty nappies and dog biscuits. I'm not sure about this one, because in all honesty, it's pretty friggin' weird. But for those of us out there who have successfully found women who allow us to procreate with them, my daughter is, I kid you not, obsessed with dog biscuits. In the morning, we feed the dog goes out, the dog eats dog biscuits. The baby at some point will race out there, and she knows what she's doing, because if you turn your back for 2 seconds and she's off like a shot. Boom. That's right, boom is the noise that she makes. And she's out there into that dog bowl, has grabbed a biscuit and stuffed it in her mouth before you could hope of stopping her. Now, this may or may not be why she's got such a full head of hair and it's so lustrous, but I've got to tell you, it's pretty friggin' weird. I'm not entirely sure. Imagine it's of no particular harm to her, but it's getting almost to the point now where we put out 2 bowls. One for the baby and one for the dog. I mean, she's only a little Jack Russell Terrier, so she's not exactly a big eater by any stretch of the imagination. But man, I swear she's losing weight at the moment trying to compete with that child. Far out. I guess it's around this time that people start to say, if you like my video cast, subscribe on YouTube and so on. I'll probably be pimping this rubbish just to see what happens. Further to my musings, I guess I can also start to look at what the hell I'm doing with the blog. Why start a blog in the first place? I guess it's notoriety. I like it because it gives me an opportunity to get a higher signal to noise ratio than you traditionally see on forums and things like that. Because, I mean, you know, forums, God love them and all, but the internet proves by opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. But much like the proverbial, doesn't necessarily mean I want to see it. When these guys hear it. Yeah, okay. Analogies don't bear up under examination. This must make for awesome viewing, by the way. Watch as I assemble a toy soldier and rant on randomly about who knows what. I know this whole video thing is kind of cool, and I think it's partly a voyeuristic culture that we're in. Where, you know, I like watching other people doing stuff. And who doesn't like watching people do stuff? But it can be taken to an extreme. Let's look at one of those extremes that was illustrated today, for example. Taylor Swift has bought the Taylor Swift.porn and Taylor Swift.adult, I think it was. DNS names for the internet. Why? Because if she didn't, some of the bugger would. It's remarkably forward thinking on her part, especially if she decides to make a career change. And let's face it, it's Taylor Swift, so what do you reckon her shelf life is? I mean, at this point, I'm just going to drill out the barrel. It's a pet thing of mine where if I've got the opportunity to, I quite like drilling out the barrel that appeals to the OCD. And however, back to my original point, getting on in years, and possibly I'm not as down with the young people as I used to be. That's still a thing, isn't it? I'm down with the young people, yo. So, anyway. Where does Taylor Swift sit in the pecking order? What's her shelf life like? How long will she be a thing? Kind of part of the reason why I'm glad I don't listen to the radio. Wow, that sounds so wacky when I say it like that. No, I don't listen to radio. Everybody knows Rock Tank Perfection 1977. So everything after that was a waste of time. You know, it's becoming funny, and it's becoming scarier the funnier it gets. How many of your moments in life be represented by Simpsons quotes? I'm not sure whether that's a funny thing or whether it's a scary thing, whether I should laugh or whether I should cry. I mean, I get it. It's a cultural icon. I guess with a passing interest in, I guess you call it anthropology. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I'll just turn my wanker dial up to 32. Ah, crap. Yep. That's Matt Groening getting me back for saying bad things about The Simpsons. They're making my miniature fall over its base. Okay, let's try again with another Morat. The name Morat in itself is kind of cool because more rat. There's another thing I didn't get, like the Mallrats movie. And for those of us who are proponents of Kevin Smith, we're familiar with his body of work that was represented by Clerks first. There was a black and white movie made from made with the money that he got from selling his comic collection. Now there's dedication. And then he wanted to make Mallrats and Chasing Amy and Jay and Silent Bob Will Strike Back and so on and so on and so on. But out of that, the one that always gets lambasted, badly reviewed, was Mallrats, and I don't quite see why. And I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, to go from Clerks to Mallrats, you could definitely do worse. Take Uwe Boll, for example. Wow. Yeah, there's a guy who should be retired from filmmaking. I vaguely remember reading somewhere that there's sort of a campaign to get Uwe Boll to stop making movies. And I think it was quoted as saying, "You get me $1 million, I'll never make a film again." Read into that what you can. And there's a Kickstarter and back. Stop Uwe Boll making movies. No, not really. Someone might ask me to put my money where my mouth is, and I have very little of one and a great big one of the other. And it is exactly as you imagine it is. I'm talking mean fight, but really, I'm not. Not like those big hobby hustlers. Those guys are hardcore, man. You do Western novelists than the big hobby hustlers, but they tend to be a little bit. Look, I'm going to say crass, just for want of a better word. But that's how the young people speak these days, I guess. So, well, I'm all for crass. I think crass is cool. Tra-la-la. Well, it has its moments. Alright. I'm going to get this one finished. Cleaned up and glued. I reckon we have to call it a night. Because some of us have to get up to go to work tomorrow. Those of us who have to get up and go to work tomorrow are old and need their sleep because they're old. Also because they're old, they have to get up very early in the morning to now embark on a new fitness regime because they're big fat bastards in their old age and need to shed some kilos. So on top of everything else, I'm now riding a push bike down to the train station. I'm riding the bike to the train station, hopping on a train, and from there After hopping on a train, getting off at the other end and walking to work, and then reversing the process, including the bike ride home. Now, I don't know where it works or not, but geez, I feel pretty good after coming home after work, having ridden a bike. And it's one of those simple pleasures. It's like playing with toy soldiers. Something you never regret. As I grow older, let me tell you this, kids. There are a few things you never regret. A couple of them, I'm not going to mention them because it's a mummy daddy thing. Never regret going for a swim. Never regret a good game of toy soldiers with gentlemanly company. And you never regret going for a ride on a bike, even at an advanced age. I guess it's just recapturing freedom. And still nostalgia from being a kid and hooning around all day on a push bike. Nothing else to do but hoon around on a push bike. I'm trying not to get into too much trouble. Back in there. Well, I'm never going to mention that age, but a while ago. We had colour TVs, it wasn't that long ago. And a microwave. I remember getting a microwave. Never quite knew what to do with it. It certainly made a vicious cup of tea. Well, it heated water up appropriately. So I guess, again, it's doing what it's supposed to do by design. Of course, if you've been following the blog on spruegray.com, this is also part of my project management painting method, or as one of my commenters put, the SGPMPM. And having very limited time, it becomes important to use the time that you've got as efficiently as humanly possible. So the goal, I guess, of the painting method that I've chosen and adopting some of the sort of project management fundamentals that we all have heard about and know and love, is I'm admitting I only have very short periods of time. So to best optimize the usage of that time, figure out what project it is that you want to do, which in this case is my combined army. Now, we have a goal, but what we've got to do is fill in the bits between the goal and the current state. The way that we do that is by measuring a metric ton of time, but also taking a large process like, well, okay, painting 10 toy soldiers, 15 toy soldiers, but you know, and figuring out with very short periods of time how to best utilize it to achieve that goal. So subsequently, I've come up with a list of the models I want to get completed, the amount of time that I've got available, and set up a schedule based around that amount of time and the requisite amount of toy soldiers. As a very wise man once said to me, it's about taking a large process, or in this case project, and not getting overwhelmed by the entirety of the project, but realizing that broken up into a series of smaller and smaller chunks, that large project becomes a realizable, an achievable goal. Because it's now not 20 toy soldiers, 100 toy soldiers, 1,000 toy soldiers. It's X number of half-hour blocks in which you're going to achieve X, Y, and Z goals as part of that half-hour block. The other one that I read that was kind of interesting was the Pomodoro method, which follows the same basic premise, realizing that with a finite amount of time, there's only so much that you can achieve. So the object to the game in the Pomodoro method is to break your project up into 20 or 25-minute chunks. Do 25 minutes worth of work, and then take a 5-minute break, and then come back to it, do 25 minutes worth of work, take a 5-minute break, and so on and so on and so on, meaning that the goal can be achieved. Here's a series of 20-minute workloads. Now, let's look at that one from a practical standpoint. Hey boss, I'm only going to do 20 minutes work today, but I think I can improve my productivity. I don't think that you're going to be making many friends doing that. But for something like this, toy soldiers, I sit here for 20 minutes, assemble some toy soldiers, take a break, come back, work for 20 minutes, assemble some toy soldiers, take a break, and so on and so on and so on, until eventually all the toy soldiers are assembled. But of course, as we all know, all the toy soldiers, once they're assembled, requires me to go out and buy more toy soldiers. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. It's a pretty cool vicious cycle, let's face it though. There are worse hobbies that I can be involved in. Man, golf, far out. That shit I just do not get. And why take a perfectly nice walk around the park and ruin it by having to chase this stupid little white ball? But I believe it was Robin Williams, RIP, who said golf is a game where a white man can dress like a black pimp and get away with it. Now, being a white man, I'm not quite sure what the appeal of dressing like a black pimp would be, nor the point of walking around a really nice park, having a look around the place, and having a whack a little white ball, trying to get in a little hole. I mean, don't get me wrong, all for pointless activities and all, but wow, how much more pointless can you get? Have a really logical extension to it. Wager dollars donuts that Tiger Woods gets more for playing with a little white ball around a nice park than what I get for sitting here twerking about playing toy soldiers. And that would be the nature of things. So it's fine to preach. Really, when you measure yourself off against something like that, it does make your arguments fairly valid. Maybe we'll clean up on that one, just to get rid of a couple of extra burrs. So it's pretty crisp. I don't know whether they're new molds or not, but these new Combined Army, far out. They are beautiful. Because I have got one rant left in the few minutes that I have, and that rant is going to be one that's bandied around by the internet, particularly by me, about the Cascuda. Seriously, go and look that bastard up. It is a work of miniature art. The Cascuda is a Combined Army miniature, and I think it'd have to be honest and say that the Cascuda was the miniature that got me into Infinity. It was a giant freaking flying cockroach. And the best bit about it was what was known as a drop troop. So for them, the 40k side of things, I would say that the Cascuda would drive deep strike into the table and land wherever the hell you wanted it to land. That was all well and good, but he had this awesome special rule called explode, where when he hit the table with such force that he would create an explosion that would kill everybody who was standing around him. And that was good for a number of yucks, because, well, you pretty well just hit the table, explode, run around, probably for a turn if you're lucky, and then you get killed, because your opponent will turn all of his army around to fight you, and try and kill this filthy, great big flying, landing, exploding, alien kill cockroach thing. Hey, Corvus Belly, if you're watching this, seriously, bring back the Cascuda. Just for me. Because I love my Cascuda. Although, the other side to that, one of the very few miniatures I've been intimidated by. He'd sit there and he'd do his thing. No. Very large, very complex miniature. Never entirely sure how to start it. So this, the death of the Cascuda in 3rd ed is kind of a boon for me. I have to figure out how to paint the bastard. Now, of course, having said that, we all know that there may be an addendum or appendix or freely downloadable content from the Corvus Belly site that says, hey, Adam, you can now use the Cascuda again. And then I will cry because I will have to paint that stupid friggin' huge thing. I mean, for example, this is how awesome the Cascuda was. I'm not sure how visible that is. But these are little plastic wingy things that you had to glue onto the model to give it, obviously, sort of buggy, insecty wingies. So there's a fair investment in the bastard, don't get me wrong. And it was worth every single penny. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship at this point, I guess. But he sits, he's undercoated, he's waiting for the love of a brush, and possibly for the love of a brush of somebody who's got their skills back after an extended time of not painting. He kind of looks at toy soldiers and the paints associated with them and says, you know, there's a connection between these two, and I know stuff is supposed to happen to them. But I will be buggered 9 ways from Sunday, if I can remember what it is. But the good thing is, it just means more practice. Checking out tutorials, having a look at stuff, ragging on people who do really good jobs that I'm jealous of, because it's the internet and I can totally do that. I believe I've already mentioned the opinions and the arseholes thing, so I don't feel the need to reiterate that again. But if I did, no, I'm not going to. What have I got left? 2 more Moritz. And what else? Morat Hacker. Oh no, that's Raktarak. Raktarak Morat Sergeant Major. He's got a combi rifle and heavy flamer. Seriously, you need to check out these models. Like, they're red-faced aliens to start with, so how awesome is that? I know there's a bit of a following for Infinity at my local, which in this case is Hampton Gaming Club, which meets in the southeast suburbs of the beautiful city of Melbourne on a Saturday. So having some time to go down there would be really, really good too. Again, I'm probably repeating myself, but it's funny that as a kid, you're time rich but resource poor. So you've got all the time in the world to sit and play with toy soldiers and paint toy soldiers and do all the things that kids do, but not the resources to pay for them. And then as you grow older, you get a family, you get responsibilities, like the family and mortgages, have to work and things. You become resource rich, but time poor. There you go. That's a really good note to close on. So if anybody's actually watching this, thank you for watching. I've managed to assemble 3 Infinity miniatures in the time that I've been rabbiting on. And I've said some things and talked about some stuff. And maybe at some point I'll have to sit down and paint them. So hope springs eternal. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.